was, the printer was printing.
I usually don't.
I was like, it's all, yeah.
So we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order.
Lord, thank you for this day. Be with us today as we conduct this meeting. Just give knowledge we need to make the decisions. Be with us throughout this week. Lead, guide, and direct us. Forgive us when we fail you. Christ, I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Good morning, everyone. How much rain did y'all end up with?
About 3 to 4 tenths. That's what I got.
Quarter.
3/10 is what the paper says.
It's better than none.
I think it'd be more than that. It really came down over in our area.
Yeah.
It came down so hard fast there Sunday. I thought it was gonna be a bunch.
Right.
I haven't heard about Blue Bandit. I talked to folks out there and they said they hadn't had any rain in months.
Really?
I didn't know if they'd gotten any of this last.
Greg Kingsley, he was saying around her places that
Well, I did, I had 3 tenths, but I heard over on 180 they had close to that, and then Lake Allen Henry they had any.
Oh, good. Maybe Blue Bandit did get some.
They can at least half an inch. That's what we said.
So there's one, the burn ban, and we can section it out if we need to. If they got an incident, it might be good for a little while. Things are turning green.
Okay, at this time, any person with business before the court not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the court. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes.
Okay. I can give a speech.
All right, presentations and discussion of department head, committee, and board reports.
I know I highlighted something on there. I'm kind of shocked that while you're looking for yours, that EMS in west of us is paying an additional $20,000 over what we're paying. That's shocking. I don't know how they can sustain that.
Andrews County. It's over 80,000 a year for a paramedic.
Well, I see how they can do that.
Yeah.
They're very wealthy. It used to be Lamesa that was doing that.
they're pumping that 20,000 out of the ground.
Oh, they sure are.
Which people do it. Yeah.
Sure puts the rest of us in a line.
Yeah, it does. Okay, anything further on those? That's what it was. I highlighted was that 20,000 more.
Yeah.
All right, court to consider approval of previous court minutes. I just found one error. I don't know if you've been told that.
Let's see if you and Jerry are on the same page.
No, I missed it.
I missed it too.
That one.
I'm in both of them.
Okay, projected instead of project. A little dyslexia there with some, but she doesn't.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Spell check don't catch the thing sometimes.
Yeah, just on the first page there in S, which you should have, you know.
Capitalized. on
Oh, yeah.
seven.
Because it is.
An action, yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Need a motion?
consider a motion.
So we approve the previous court minutes with corrections.
Okay.
Second. Third.
All our pins have disappeared.
Need one? Are they in there? I don't know.
You make pins.
I know. And you
Yeah, I
don't
haven't made any in a while.
want to borrow my tonight?
Wasn't there.
Just you went to Disney World, I got a thing.
All right, court to discuss and consider and precinct project schedule and staffing. We're needing to get millings out there, right?
Right,
And you need,
So I talked to Digby last week, and we could save money if we have a front end loader in Sweetwater and a front end loader at the golf course to load the millings and then to stack the millings. So that's where we're at with that.
and that's gonna be at different times, correct? Or do you need them at the same time? One to load them and then when they unload them to stack them?
Yeah, probably pretty at the same time, I would think.
And if we don't have enough area to leave them, because Sean was going to actually run a what's your bust up rocks? The bust up rocks, your equipment that busts up rocks.
Grid roller.
Yeah, your grid roller. That is going to, now, you do that all the time, don't you, at your precinct?
Yeah, we
When you spread them out and then you
Stick 'em
stack them. And so out there may not be enough room to leave it, just laid out from the belly dumps. And if there isn't, well then, I got another solution. I talked to a man that has a small processor that all the clods, everything, $10 a yard. He'll come here and there's no charge to move from precinct or from pile to pile around the county. So that could certainly save us. They use these for bike trails, in fact, that have been processed through this. They also can add oil to it to make them more like pavement, paving materials. But that's $40 a yard, which that would get expensive. But the $10 a yard, if you're gonna use them within a 6-month period, would get all those clods out of them, because we've had a very bad experience with our road widener to, you go along there and a big clod comes out and you don't see it, and you just took out about 6 foot or 10 foot of your material that you just put in, because it just slides around on top of it like a plow. So
How does that work? Do you have to load it with a loader?
you'd load it into the hopper and then it would come out the other side. It would restack it there wherever that machine
Okay,
was,
so
has a conveyor belt.
Okay,
And it weighs it as well, so you know how many tons that have been actually milled or processed. And so it seems like a pretty good deal for $10. That'd be $10 a yard.
right.
I mean, a ton, I'm sorry.
Ton.
They're really close, ton, yard, they're pretty close to each other as far as weight's concerned.
How many?
2,000 pounds is a ton. I think 2,300 pounds is a yard on some of that material.
So that'd be roughly $190 per truckload.
To mill it.
Mhm.
There's 18 yards times 10,
He's got 22 tons in his truck.
$180 per,
$10, 220.
and know what he's running. But if you don't do that, you're gonna have clots
Right, yeah.
that are horrible, and you're not gonna have a
What do you think
smooth.
of that?
I mean,
What do you think of that machine?
Oh, it'd be nice, but did you do a OP I can ask him about that.
I hadn't always let him.
Oh.
Okay. I'll reach out to him then.
This is nobody else because, like I said, I canceled the other one, just like we talked, so.
Okay.
All right, and I also have an estimate if that one isn't available from a guy in this Lubbock.
Okay.
And no, not that one, that's a processor.
Oh,
That would be a laydown machine you're speaking of to lay down the material.
Right.
Yeah.
okay. I will talk to him then. Okay. I'll have him call you.
Good. I imagine if, in fact, he thinks that will work, you better run through that machine.
Yeah. It's probably a good idea if it'll tear. If you have issues with your machine, you would have issues with that later machine.
I would definitely have issues with the later.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's not made to bust those clods up.
Okay.
You'd have to process it and then you'd take skid steer or whatever and keep the hopper full. Skid steers, whatever.
Okay. So what about, needing loaders at each end? Y'all able to do that?
You're going to immediately stack it. You'd have to have, you'd need them at each end because there's not enough room out there
When do you plan on doing this?
to just leave it out.
Really, it's when it all comes together. Roe is looking at, wanting to be 3 days ahead of y'all.
So is he waiting on us at this point, or is he gonna go ahead and?
Well, when we get the millings, we'll, have that ready, then whenever y'all are available to do it. It
I
will be
can have
3
my
days.
loader out here.
What'd you say?
I can have my loader out here.
Okay. I called Big B, so they're kind of just waiting on me, really.
He wants us to furnish a loader at the other end as well.
He can, but it's gonna cost extra.
Yeah. How much?
I didn't ask, I said I'd check here.
Oh, we've got plenty of loaders. Will your grid roller actually roll a full 3-4 foot in that thickness, or do you have to spread it out even more to get the clods out of
You
it?
gotta spread it out,
Okay, I sprayed that.
then pick it up.
So,
Yeah, the machine would be by far best, okay?
I agree.
Because especially if we're gonna try to run it through that deal,
Yes, definitely.
because it'll get real heavy every time.
Well, even if you're using a blade like you were talking about, and you come to clods, it's gonna dig out anything that's very big. It's not gonna approach it.
No, it's not.
And that's available when we can get it, the miller.
Of course, this is my first time to be able to
Right.
talk to the court about it. And so if we agree that that's something we need to do, then I'd have to call him back to get a timeline of when he could be here.
Okay.
I have found others that do this as well, and they might, if it's more than $50,000, of course, we have to go out for bids unless they have it on a buy board.
Right.
So,
Imagine we better talk to Eli first about that.
Yeah.
See if that will even remotely work.
Right.
so they do lay them down with them. One of my guys, has seen it done. And it's just, but you're right, it's just not gonna take the clods out.
Nope.
You're gonna have to have a good, fine granular material for it to do it.
Because they're much lay down
That's
machines
right.
are made for,
Just
Right.
processing it through the size and the width and the thickness.
Yeah.
That's all it's for.
you know,
Those clods won't go through that.
Let's get a little more
Let's get more light.
information and then
Yeah.
we'll get back to you.
hurry up and wait.
That's fine.
We'll come back on the next agenda. And I'd like to have a plan by next agenda going forward, where we're at on everything. So, anything else on the
Yeah.
precinct project?
I gave every one of you a pretty thorough explanation of the, I didn't read that, I'm sorry, of the oil analysis for our machines, especially those that are under warranty, but it even goes to those that are not under warranty. I've talked to both CAT and to Deere, and they said absolutely all analysis needs to be done if it's under warranty of all oil samples. I mean, of all the hubs that the differential, the transmission, the engine, the radiator, everything needs to be done on schedule that is provided for in their manuals. You can get on CAT's website and they actually go through the entire SOS, oil sampling, the way that it's done. There are YouTube videos showing you how to do it properly. Some people just go out there and take an oil sample with a cold machine. We found out as I've done the study, you can't do that. It's got to be a warmed up machine to take. It's got to be it's got to be at working temperature. And if you don't do that and something fails during the warranty period, it's on us.
We do our deer.
And if we don't do it on our older equipment, it's still on us because the engines can wear out. I mean, because of the oil, what's in the oil. So you got blow by, biodiesel. If you get that, that's even worse. And so those fuels dilute that crankcase oil. And different reasons, I've had it throughout the years from us doing oil samplings. I have seen, you think that the oil is fine because it's even, it's just at the intervals they tell you to sample it. And it's not fine. There's metal coming out and small amounts of it. You can't see it. It's not stopping the filter up necessarily. It will in time, but then your engine, transmission, differential fail. And then it's a lot more expensive to replace those than it is to find out early on and change the oil or put more additives in it or whatever is needed. So you get that information back from that. It's very little to do it. And in fact, CAT actually furnishes bottles to the county to do that oil analysis with and to send it in. But it is very important to know how to do it and really need one or two people doing it that are understanding the method in which to do it so that you get the best results. But so it helps you avoid costly failures and unplanned downtime. It helps you maximize your ROI, return on investment. It helps reduce repair times. And then, like I said, it's pretty exhaustive, the information I've given you. A lot of you already know this stuff. I just want to reiterate it at times so that we're making sure that our guys understand it and are doing it.
Well, we're talking about maintainers. I got a cat that I'm tired of working on. It's got a brand new rebuilt transmission, stops at filters over 50 hours, and I'm tired of it. So just for y'all's information, if I can figure out how, it is probably gonna leave because it's parked right now.
There's no warranty. There's no warranty on that.
We're not gonna talk about that.
Oh, okay. All right. Man, it's horrible. Well, that was just last fall? Or that was- Wow. Okay. All right.
And who do y'all send that off?
What's that?
Who do y'all send
Oil
y'all?
samples?
Yeah.
John Deere. And it doesn't make any difference. We can sample our vehicles. They don't determine what the equipment is. They just determine the oil and what's in it. So the different metals, whether it's water, whether it's diluted, it needs whatever. And so anybody, you can send anything in.
Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't had to do it since, my newer equipment is under their warranty, so I'm surprised I haven't had to.
Can you imagine if you have a breakdown and you hadn't been doing that,
Yeah.
what they're gonna say to you? Sorry. I mean, that's possible. So,
Yeah, for sure.
I get you the information.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I think it's in they don't tell you that's what you do, but it's in their agreement or their handbooks
Mhm.
that come with them that says this is what you need to do.
And the hours in which you need to do it.
You have to have a magnifying glass to find it.
It's in that small.
That's fine.
And once you send them in, they'll send you an email with a detailed report analysis on that oil.
Deer furnishes bottles and
We've been buying ours. So if they're furnishing them, I need to talk to those guys. Because they do furnish them, but we've been paying for them. For from Deere, yeah.
It's been furnished in mine.
Have they? Okay. Well, that's good. Okay. They're gonna be furnishing mine.
Yeah, if I could get that, that'd be great.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'll get it for you. No problem.
was the deal with the maintainers, if we did that it covered everything except wear items.
Oh, normal wear, sure.
Sure.
Okay, anything else there? Okay, we'll move on, and I think y'all know it's gonna be a long day anyway, so.
Let her have
I didn't know that.
All right, court to consider accepting donations to county entities. We have donations to the senior center in the amount of $5,049. And we have some to the library. On the back of the donation sheet is a list of DVDs, books, CDs, magazines, and a check from the Friends of the Library, Scurry County Library, for $194.
Make a motion to accept the donations to county entities as presented.
Second.
All in favor? All right, court to discuss and consider a resolution with text off for airport improvements. Okay, you got a packet there with you for the airport project, CSJ 2408 SNYDR is what TxDOT has named it. It goes through the whole list of what is what. So the total design and construction project cost currently estimated to be $10,455,700, of which our sponsor share would be, including design and construction estimates, to be $1,045,570. A separate grant for engineering design will be offered. 10% of that is $61,500. The total estimate design cost is $615,000. The construction is $9,840,700, and the sponsor share of that is $984,070. So that total $10,455,000 includes both of those. The design is expected to be due by August 2024. The share for that's the design share. The construction share is estimated to be due August of 2025. We'll need to do a resolution, designation of sponsors, authorized representative, certification of projected funds, or project funds, designated sponsors oh my goodness, consultant selection committee. We had a meeting the other day with TxDOT, and Angela was in that meeting with us, where we were discussing this. And if you'll see after the resolution, the designation of sponsors, authorized representative, I did not complete that. I wanted to see if y'all wanted it to be me or David, however you wanted to handle that. I did put together I'm just missing that word today, consultant selection committee. And it's some of the same folks that were on the last selection committee or the ALP committee. David Coons, Les Bullard, Doug, Eli, and me. And then the last page is certification of project funds. And I'll let Angela speak to that aspect of it.
Okay, currently in Texas Class Airport Fund, we have $621,697.52. He's already put $50,000 this year from Affuel. Last year we did $150,000 total for the year from Affuel. So I feel, we're in March and we've already done 50. So, and he said he already has almost enough to do another 50 built up in Affuel. So I feel very confident that we'll get at least another 100 this year in Affuel. Plus he budgeted every year 100,000 in runway maintenance in his actual budget. So we have 100,000 in 24, 100,000 that we always budget, and so in 25, that would it would leave potentially maybe an extra 23,872 to add to his budget. But that's saying if he only gets two more Affuels this year and 2 before we have to pay in 2025. We definitely have the money to do the August 24, the design part, the 61,500. Interest rates have been over 2,000 every month. they may start coming down some because, they've already started coming down a little bit, but not like it was in 2020. So as long as we have a large amount in there, he's gonna get more, interest in there. So I feel like it's a very doable thing. The other thing is if we do not, first I'll tell you this. On here, I have 100,000 for the 24 budget, which is what's already in his actual budget. And then 25, if you say anywhere from an additional 25 to 50,000. So 150,000 for his budget, and then Texas class, $795,570. That is, give or take on the interest and stuff. But I think that it's very doable to be able to get that. The other thing is we signed up for this in 2014 and we're projected in 2025. So if we do not do it, from my understanding, there's big, huge cracks in the runway. I don't know how much longer our runway will be usable if we don't take this opportunity now. And in the meeting, they showed, what did they call it? Reconstructive ones, rehabilitated, and then another word. So the rehabilitated was marked in yellow. There were some roads around the hangar that they had it in red as to be completely redone. And David said he does not believe that those need to be redone. They just need to be rehabilitated. So obviously then if that's the case, when they come back and they start doing it, then the cost will come down from the 10 million. It won't cost as much to rehabilitate that it is to fully redo it. So it is very likely to be less than this $10 million on here, but they're doing it at the high end, of course. And then you don't know with cost of things. And we're in presidential year, so.
Yeah. And this is one of those, if we don't do this and it does continue to get worse, the FAA could say.
And if we turn it down, we may not get approved again.
Right.
Because it is from TxDOT.
I don't know why it would be turned down. Because, he's sitting at 50 grand the first 3 months.
Yeah.
So he could possibly be 200 grand at the end. So that would eat up 23,000. So,
And David is watching his fuel very closely, so as soon as it gets a little, like about 60 in there, he pulls out 50 and brings it, so we can start a fight and get it going and get it in there. So he's been watching it very, very closely on that.
Was that a motion?
yeah, pretty much.
All in favor?
What about that one page?
Oh, yeah, the designation of sponsor of authorized representative.
I would count, David should be left.
Is that, as far as making decisions or?
I think it is on the actual.
Authority to make approvals and disapprovals.
Right. For what's the planning and all of that, I think it's like that part of it.
Okay.
And I don't know if David. You might put him at the county judge. This is kind of.
Well, I'm sure.
He won't do, David, I know wouldn't do anything without coming
Right.
through, but.
Yes, and that's my point. Chances are he's gonna include you anyway, correct? Before he does anything. Or am I talking out of turn? I don't know.
No, you're not talking out of turn at all. I believe so. I believe he
Because
does.
it says who shall have the authority to make approvals and disapprovals required on behalf of Scurry County.
I think the county judge is a go-between between all of us and him being there to make those decisions and working with, because he's gonna work with David.
That's all.
And that's, I'd rather the judge have that authority because he's representing us. David represents us, but not like the judge does.
For
He's a court member.
Well, I don't have any issue with that, but like I said, as long as David's included in it.
He absolutely would be. I believe he knows best with the airport news.
That's a good point. I do too. I mean, I see Terry's point also.
I do believe that if he saw anything or thought anything, because he spoke up on the Zoom meeting when they were, because I have no idea what I was looking at on that thing. I had no idea where the runway was and the hangars were. But he pointed out the red and the hangars area, and he called them out on that. And that, from what he said, it was it would be a substantial difference, because it was several roads in that hangar area. Yeah, that they wanted to completely remediate or something like that.
Remediation, probably, no. Anyway.
There was terminology. It's not a county terminology, I don't know.
Right,
It's gonna be one of those days.
I understand.
Something like full depth rehabilitation. So you're actually milling up the pavement into the base, and then you're actually repaving it completely.
Yeah, basically redoing the entire thing.
Full depth.
With what you have, instead of,
It works.
it does, it's like we do county roads.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
so we did a motion to move you to
To do the,
decision making.
Second.
all of that. Court to discuss and consider renting Winston Field and or North Park on an hourly basis for baseball practice. Lance couldn't be here today, which, don't blame him for taking some time. So what, this came up, people have been asking Lance about, renting Winston on an hourly basis. We currently rent it out on a daily basis at $400 a day. He's had people want to rent it on an hourly basis. He initially said one team per day, but then he said if they would sign an agreement that said that if they stay over, they lose their ability to rent the facility. Find that neat.
But no one really there to police it after.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these are adults, self-police. I understand what they're saying because, I mean, when we used to do this, you're gonna practice a couple of hours
Right,
and then you're done, and $400 for a couple of hours is kind of extreme.
right.
And if they can self-police themselves, then we can come back and make it a day.
Right, he did say $40. Where did I find that? I think it was $40 an hour is what he was suggesting.
I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't read that.
No.
I was thinking more of $100.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, when we had the conversation, he thought maybe $40 an hour. He did mention that in the emails, but, I mean, whatever y'all think, that was just something he threw out with a question mark. If you're thinking $100 an hour.
We know who's gonna do the maintenance.
That's
Yeah.
mine.
Who's renting?
Mhm.
Who's renting?
There's individual softball teams that are wanting to.
Not like the Little League,
No, it's
little-
not the.
not the youth.
I think it'd be girls softball. Not
That's kinda
men's
steep,
league,
really.
or maybe men's league as well.
The one, the way I understood it, it was,
Men's league.
well, not the Little
Like
League,
Friday?
them, some of the coaches, because they don't have any place
Oh,
to practice.
On a softball field. that
He
would be-
didn't,
Well, I mean, the little,
Yeah, didn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
he didn't
Usually
specify to
practice
me.
the only thing I see about that though, is we have a North Park that has 2 fields,
Mhm.
and people are using it right now.
No lights.
But
And
he
they need to
said,
have
he
lights.
told me what they're doing is they have a board or something up there, they put their name on.
Hmm.
But to me, if we're gonna charge them for doing that, we need to charge them for using the North Park too.
Yeah, oh, I agree. Yeah, North Park's getting nicer and nicer. They're putting in irrigation right now, so they can't really use where they're putting irrigation in, but once it gets there and they get the grass and everything,
He said they're using both fields right
you
now.
get all the stickers and the goat heads off of it where people can actually use it. I would not use those fields in past because of the goat heads. I mean, they will go through anything. They'll go through your shoes your tennis shoes that you're wearing. They're horrible. But if they get that cleaned up and get it irrigated where they can grow actual grass on it and everything, that'd be awesome. It is a nice park.
I did include that in the agenda item because of that. You know, you're gonna do it for one, you might as well do it for all.
Well, and here's the thing too, they're already practicing on it,
Right.
so.
Are you gonna start charging them for it,
Tough-
for something that they
tough.
are everything? The other issue is the lights at Winston are in bad shape that need to be repaired. So it would only be daylight hours.
Well, they'll be through the dark anyway.
Yeah. So, but I agree, Doug, that if you're gonna do it for one, you might as well do it for all.
I don't know if y'all are coming out like youth, like little league and all that, I don't know that they can afford $100 an hour to rent, to practice.
That's what I understood. It was
The money we had in Little League whenever I was there, they may not have the same ability to raise the money, I don't know, as they used to.
But I don't think that the association is going to be paying for it. I think it's the coaches.
Oh, and it may be, maybe you're right. But, you know,
Now,
they're,
the individual coaches that have they have, because they're responsible for finding their own place to practice.
and there's places all over,
Any place to practice.
there's places all over town, right? They just built a brand new one right out there on 132 that they're practicing on. It's out there by the Syntex Park. They just built that one. There's one over here on 13th Street. These guys are pretty resilient. They get out there and they just make a field. They don't have the fence to stop the ball, but
They are building some, but I think some have disappeared too over the years. Like over in front of the American Legion, that's private property now. So that was one, there was a very small field. I don't know if anybody's using it between Dalton and Sunset back in, and it was like, it was a tiny field. There's some other ones that have just, they've kind of disappeared. And so I think there
used to be several places to practice on the Coliseum ground. We
Yeah.
certainly did.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still allow it or not, but I think
I
they
think
do.
they are. Lance did say it's coaches wanting a place for kids to practice.
I don't think that we have enough fields at any price for all of them.
No, I agree.
For
Yeah,
sure.
there's too many teams.
But as we start replacing lights, we start putting lights in, like over here that they took down in North Park, that's gonna be a huge expenditure. To do that, I mean, whatever.
North Park, they have a list of who's practicing when.
That's what he told me. That's something on, I guess, the press box or something. They just have a list that sign up for every time they want.
They're just using the field that they're not putting irrigation in right now, or they're not putting the irrigation in, you don't know.
No, I don't.
And I haven't been there to look.
They haven't.
I just, Lance told me they were.
When I was over there talking to him that day, he told me they hadn't started their irrigation.
Okay, he said he's waiting for the pipe to get warmed up to where it would be more flexible. Yeah, that's right.
Is it out of their pockets, the coaches' pockets?
I certainly did.
Is that is gonna be, you're gonna have some who can afford to pay and others who can't.
That's true.
Because the coaches all volunteer.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a dog in this fight, we don't play baseball.
No, we don't.
But I'm just saying, I don't know, it's, when we do the other sports, it's always volunteer, everybody
Yeah.
volunteers to
That's
do
fine.
it, and, I mean, it's expensive to pay it out of your own pocket,
And-
and I don't know the league would pay for it.
Right. And I did for years, I coached for years, and I wouldn't have been able to afford it. renting a field, or I wouldn't have done that. I'd have found a place that didn't charge.
And I know Hermley lets some of them practice on their fields. And they don't charge to do it.
Yeah.
But they have to clean up after themselves because we have really nice baseball fields. on our
Right.
field.
I like the idea of the list that they're using over there, who can practice on what days and what times.
And so they're already self-policing.
Yeah,
Is that North Park?
and I think that if they could do that at Winston, we could give them access to those fields. If we want to let them use that field as a practice field, because they're already doing it at North Park. Those fields are locked every day, right? So my understanding is that they keep those fields, keep Winston Field locked.
It used to be,
So,
you had to get the key.
but the ones at North Park are not.
Yeah, that wouldn't work, and past 5 o'clock though. And now we've got, daylight and it's getting lighter, staying light till 9 o'clock at night. So that's what I was talking about, self-policing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't want to kids, police, just.
Of course, you get there and somebody else is using the facility because because it wasn't locked.
Yeah,
So, they need to, whoever's gonna rent the field or use the field needs to have somebody needs to be over it. It's kind of like association, and this is our practice team, and we're gonna hand the key off one to another as they come in. As you end, you give the key to the next group. Of course, then they don't show up. What do? You gotta have a place to put the key that nobody knows about.
So another question is, why do we lock one but not the other?
They may lock North Park now since they've got a fence around it.
I know that they used to, I don't know about now, in Winstonville, they used to also play ragdoll in there. An adult, whatever, I don't know. Now that I know we would rent that to do
Yeah.
that.
That's where the daily rent would come in. So we can do
Yeah.
both. We can do
Yeah.
$400
And
for
they
a
would
day.
play at night.
for
and
teams.
stuff even.
If each team member, of course, adults can pay each one of them to be able to play on the field.
Well, and that's not,
It's
they're
not like the
just playing it
kids.
for fun. I mean, kids are playing for fun too, but
Yeah.
it's a whole different kind of thing. There's all kinds of other stuff involved in that.
Of course, we as parents whenever we were coaching and on other softball or baseball teams, we paid out a lot of money to be on those teams and to do the things we needed to do with the kids, so it's, even though they're kids, they've got adults standing behind them, not just the coaches, they've got parents that we were always charged something to, for whatever t-shirts or we was gonna wear as a team or hats, whatever we were doing. It can get overwhelming for sure with all the other things, cause schools have a lot of charges, like FFA, and there's a lot of cost there for kids, for parents to be able to pay for. So, I'm for whatever.
So if you let them use it, are you gonna say that when they used to have softball tournaments here, do they get first shot at it? Because that's gonna be another big thing.
That'd be a whole nother thing. So does the men's softball teams, they're playing there now, does that start later whenever, or start the same time that these guys are actually out there playing at the park? I'm out of that deal. I haven't, not a clue.
I know Little League ends earlier because of the national going up through the chain, through, the different regions and all, to get to Little League World Series. So theirs actually ends middle of May.
Brantley's last game is May 16th.
Okay.
Game 11 is May 16th.
Right, and I think those leagues start,
Or summer leagues.
yeah. So I don't know that would really be
I don't know nothing about it, but all for my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
Right, I'm sure Lance would have a better idea too, but he's not here.
And if we put it off, that's almost, it is May. So,
In March, we have another meeting in first of April.
Yeah. I think if you're gonna do it for one, you have to do it for the others. Whichever way you go, if you allow people to use North Park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree.
Well, if you're gonna irrigate it, you're gonna get more maintenance on it.
Yeah.
So you gotta cover the cost of your maintenance as well. Because the irrigation is not just, growing grass, you're gonna have more wear and tear on the dirt and all that, so you gotta look at that. If you're gonna charge for one irrigated area, you might as well charge for another irrigated.
sprinkler heads, no, we put the land.
If you turn lights on, it does get expensive.
See, I think that would be too dark.
Yeah, just stop it. And so they did that out here at the park. They put locks on the boxes, your electrical box to main breaker to keep people from coming in. They just cut them and turn them on. Who pleases that after, after dark?
They put them on the gates to keep them from playing out, and they jump the fence.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So
But you have to go, of course, that.
it's a few that makes it difficult for the men.
No, well,
That's always been.
all that being said, we sold in.
And, since it's not a nightly thing with the lights coming on, I haven't looked at it in a long time, but we were charged, just to turn those lights on for the first time. It's like $1,000 or $1,500 charge. It used to be. I'm thinking that we renegotiated that, at the park.
The man charge.
Yeah, oh my, that's it, just like irrigation, right?
Yep.
The man charge. And so that's something we can also look at because that gets cost prohibitive.
What is your, which I always disagree with.
I'm with you.
There's gonna be a cotton gin. Cotton gin's about 20 grand. The man charge.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so what's your pleasure here?
I don't think they know.
Well, like Sean said, I hate to tell these kids no. I mean,
I do, I really do.
it's, cause if they're able to practice right now at North Park, so.
So let's set a fee and let Lance determine when the other teams, if the men's league or whatever, when that starts, when they are able to practice on that, and these other teams then have to be off of it. I mean,
I think if we set a fee for Winston, we have to set a fee for North.
oh, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying let's set the fees and then let Lance determine who plays when
Right.
because of he's got the knowledge.
Yeah, he does. My concern is that they've already been using it for free and we set a fee now halfway through.
You mean at North Park, they're
Yeah.
using it for free?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we set a fee now on it.
So they've been using $400 a day over here at Winston. These have been free over here, so thank you.
Well, yeah, and of course, he said that one's only been rented twice. It was rented twice last year.
Okay.
It hadn't been rented yet this year.
Wow. So they're not really playing a lot of men's
Yeah.
league over there, are they?
So, I mean, it might generate some revenue. Personally, that's just me. I think since they've already started using it, I would hate to start charging. If it was
Finish
me
out this season.
and I was
Yeah,
coaching
let's.
and I've been using a field and you come and tell me I gotta start paying for it now, I'm not gonna be a happy camper.
So let's let it begin in the next year.
Yeah, yeah.
You can go.
And then it can be also put on our website that starting for the
2025.
season or whatever, that there will be, and whatever the fee can then be determined.
Yeah.
And that way it'll be on our website and they'll have a heads up and we'll be like, wait, what?
So 2 hours is long enough for anybody to practice.
Lance said there hadn't been a men's league in several years.
Okay. So you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right.
And we're still paying to get it maintained anyway, and they're gonna water it anyway.
Well, when I was playing on this thing, there was team under team.
Yeah.
Late
Oh, yeah,
midnight.
Years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, our motion is Winston, all baseball fields are free for the 24 season to practice on.
I don't know if I do all.
You didn't just say all, did you? Because that would also include the park.
No,
Okay.
The ones that are on the agenda.
What's on the agenda?
Okay. Winston, okay. Okay.
It's the park for the 24 season. And,
Sign up sheet.
yeah,
Okay.
What about Winston starting now and, because it's already being rented, it's just a too high to practice on. So that's really the main objective of today, is to get it reasonable enough that these guys can, they can now practice on that field without paying, because the judge already said a lot of these other practice areas are gone. So really, we don't think, since it's already being rented, we can reduce the rent for 2 hours for them to practice now, and then we can add North Park in the coming year. Is that reasonable? Because they don't want to pay $400, I don't blame them, for 2 hours. So can we get a reasonable rate for them on Winston, and then we start North, because it never has been, even though that's been rented, this never has been rented, started in 25 at North Park. Is that reasonable?
yeah, I don't have an issue with
Okay.
it. Anyway, y'all want to do it, I really
I
don't.
just don't want us to do something that's going to stop these guys from being able to reasonably use Winston.
I don't want to do that either.
Okay. Okay, just want to make sure.
You got one that's rented, you got one that's free.
It's been being rented,
Yeah.
though, and those haven't, so that's the difference. That's what I'm saying, go around to 25 for North Park, because we all feel like that it should be making some income.
Well, they hadn't got the irrigation stuff on that.
No.
I think that's.
That's right.
I'm telling you, you got a much nicer park
Oh, you do.
versus what you're
Oh, quit that.
paying for.
Baseball field
Basically,
are nice.
yeah, that's what I meant.
The park over here is
Oh, yeah.
awesome. They use it every day. I mean, you can't go by there that there's not somebody using that park. Baseball fields are gonna get there.
So what's the reasonable?
And that's what we was talking about, and the judge feels like, and I think several of you, else feel like, that $40 for 2 hours or per hour is reasonable, or, I mean, because we were looking at 100, so we can go anywhere between 0 and 100. You wanna make it where everybody can do
I'm thinking 20 an hour,
an hour.
'cause that's gonna be 40 hours of practice that these coaches are gonna have to come up with if they practice for 2 hours. So that's $40 a day, and how they gonna practice 3 times a week?
So if they were actually using the field for 10 hours for a tournament or something, that would be about what we're getting now.
Well, that would, yeah, and that would be, they would rent it for the day on that.
Yeah, for 400. So that's 40. No, that's 40 an hour, not 20. That'd be 200. I'm just trying to,
Well, we're not,
Figure out
we're not
the-
renting it out
yeah,
now.
yeah, because they don't, yeah. And we can tweak it in the future if we need to.
So what's your motion?
Oh, well,
Well, I wrote my notes so far of being, North Park is gonna remain free for the 24 season. Sign up sheets in order to practice. Start charging in the 25-year season for both parks, for adding North Park.
Yes.
And now we just need to know is the amount.
You know, what's the rate that you wanna charge for Winston this year and for both for next year?
Winston's
Per hour.
400 a day, correct, if you do it all day.
Right.
Yeah. So if you were using it for 10 hours, that would be $40 an hour.
40.
We can always change it if it's not where people can use it, right? I mean, you can come back in 6 weeks and say, wait a minute, that nobody's using it. That's not.
If you would get right down to it, we have a lot of stuff in this county that's built for the citizens of Scurry County.
Excellent.
And I don't know why baseball fields and everything. So,
What's a green fee, Sid?
9 holes is $12 without a cart,
And how long does it take to play 9 holes?
about an hour and 10 minutes. The deal is if you're gonna reserve it, it's just for your use.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna reserve it, you need to pay for it. My idea was, how many times a week do they practice? You know, how many times, I mean, if you do it 3 times a week, for 5 weeks and you're charging $40 an hour, I mean, you could be paying $1,000 by the end of your baseball season and.
Well, most of them practice in
I mean, I don't know how many parents can afford it. I mean, I wouldn't do it.
Would you do 20?
20 an hour. I think 15 to 20 an hour is reasonable.
I've had those tell me that they would pay $100 an hour, but they have more money.
Some can afford it, most
Some-
can't,
some.
right? I mean,
Right. Like I said, I personally would still find a free field.
Oh, I would too. I mean, because I can, there's lots of people evidently cannot.
Baseball.
There's one thing, supply and demand will make it, if they don't ever use it, then we need to say, wait a minute,
I
this
say
is
we
getting
start at
used.
20 and we can always go up next year.
We can, that's true.
Good.
That's okay,
so it's maybe,
yeah.
and
As long as it don't become a problem, I'm good.
because you're paying for a maintained
Alright,
field
so
is how I
that's
see it.
Sean's motion, 3 for 24, North Park sign-up sheet practice, start charging 25-year season, $20 an hour.
Second.
And Winston this year, $20 an hour.
Okay,
Is that right? Okay.
okay, let's, $20 an hour.
Did you say second?
So Winston.
All in favor? All opposed?
Now, what'd you,
Like I said, I wouldn't pay for it.
oh, so you want it for free?
That'd be nice.
Oh. Okay.
So
and
Winston.
if it doesn't work, I mean,
Yeah. At $20 an hour, I would do it.
Anyway.
They wanted
There's
an
a lot.
hourly rate. We gave them one. They said, gotta go for the year.
It's had a price to all.
Go back over this.
So what do you tell the people?
$400 a day for Winston, $20 an hour for Winston. Next year, the 25 season, that price is the same for North
Oh, I
Park
know.
and
That's what I'm
Winston.
saying. For the guys that
Per
are.
hour.
There'll be a
20 an hour,
sign-up sheet.
$40 an hour.
20
But
an
those
hour,
guys-
400 a day.
Right, those are gonna do that.
And then there'll be a sign-up
Teams and
sheet with
they're all
plans.
paying you.
Yes.
And I've still got all my brain cells. Good. I think we're going good here, you guys.
That's
Oh,
worse
dear.
than budget. That's worse than budget.
John, no.
I think that's a good way to start. Okay.
And if it
This
don't
isn't-
work,
this
if it don't
isn't
work,
set-
we'll
This isn't
revisit
set
it.
in stone.
No.
That's right.
No.
That's what I said an hour ago. $20 an hour.
Okay. You just spoke up an hour ago.
What you said there for?
First thing I heard was 40, from 100 to 40. So
All right. Cool. All right, court to discuss and consider amendment to order form with Placer Labs AA Incorporated. So Placer AI is artificial intelligence that can give you a lot of information that helps out. We've tested it last year, and it's got some good information. So such as the golf course is a good example of this. So we figured out how many people are going in, how many people are, where they're going to from there, and how much the golf course, people coming from out of town, hitting the golf course and impacting our community as far as dollars spent. In 1 year, it was over $2 million. And I had all the information and I ran out of time to bring it, but, you can take your roads, section of road, and determine how many people are using that, so you've used that, okay? And how many people are using that section of road, You can do that for different businesses throughout town. So we can use it for analytics to see how many people are going to the library, where they're going, what they're doing, for all of our different. And we did the agreement with DCOS involved last year. And they paid their amount, we paid our amount. The way they were looking at it this year, we can get a bigger discount if there's more of us. City would like to use it, Chamber would like to use it, DCOS wants to continue to use it, and I think we'd like to continue to use it. It's $8,000 a year for each of us, but they want to put it under one agreement and use us that way to pay it, and they pay us back their $8,000.
So we would send an invoice to these other entities?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
And who did you say, DCOS?
DCOS, city,
Chamber, and the city?
yes, ma'am.
And these guys do all the work, is that what you're saying? Or did,
Yeah,
software you
there was,
had to implement?
It was included, there was all those little snippets included in the budget workbooks for each of the all of y'all last year, and it had like detailed information for the library and the health unit and all that, how many people came on at this time period to this period, and
Yeah.
it basically goes here.
Yeah.
You know,
Your
nothing's
business
private.
done it first time, if I remember right,
Yes.
it was.
It doesn't track if they have a location turned off.
But it shows like how many people go to the park, during the summer. Like, so when we're developing stuff and learning our
Like
city,
20,000.
these are our hot spots, and then we can, pay attention to those areas and develop, in those areas.
That's what I used for Cavender Road, because everybody said that's a useless road.
Right.
About 250 vehicles a day.
Yeah.
And it could also work really well in conjunction with that bucket list thing that
Yes,
DCOS
that they're
is
doing,
doing.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think they do use that in conjunction with that, so.
And the chamber uses it for events such as like Western Swing. They can say, here's how many people were here, and these people traveled back home. These people went to a restaurant and went to this hotel. These people, they were able to utilize it that way.
So
You can get my information.
are they separate from the city as far as?
Yes.
Okay, so it's DCOS, Chamber, us, city.
In the city, yeah, when each put $8,000, of course, we'll put the 32 up front, and then each pay it back 8,000, so.
Second.
I think you're trying to say something there, Sean.
He heard, Jeff, mine, putting it out in the air there.
So whose motion was it?
It was yours, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
I bet you
All
did.
right.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor? All right, this goes to Jeff. Court to discuss, consider repair or replacement of precinct 4 maintained.
Okay, I have a 770 in Lubbock right now with the repair bill. If they fix it, the hydraulic pump went out on it. And the estimate is $52,028. This is due to a hydraulic pump failure. And prior to the first of the year, we put just right at $10,000 into this machine on getting the fan drive hydraulic motor replaced. This machine's got 7,341 hours on it now. It's like all the equipment that I have. There was no proof of service on any equipment over there. We've started a maintenance program, and the more we do maintenance, the more problems we find. A new machine are going up, they're going up drastically from when we leased those. We don't have the money to go purchase a machine. And a new machine is about $385,000.
That's 100,000 more than what those we got cost. Yeah.
They're willing to give, it's $425,000 for a new machine, and they're willing to give $40,000 for this machine. And they've already put it out there a little bit. The highest bid they've got on it was $13,000 so far. But if we purchased one, we did that. If it's up to y'all, what y'all think, I'm recommending that we lease another blade, because we don't have the money to go buy one.
What's a lease on one now?
At least he did not have the numbers on it, but he said it'd be higher than what we paid. He's thinking closer to 40.
That makes sense.
About 4,000 more.
Yeah, I don't know why you keep throwing money into another pit that's got 8,000 hours on it. And it's still gonna be worth $13,000.
We have got to quit, motor graders at least, we've got to quit keeping them past the 5-year full machine warranty. I have sold these machines for as much as or more than what we paid for them within the first 3 to 4 years. And under warranty, it's gonna bring even more. I talked to another commissioner this morning that did something similar to what I'm talking about, and he paid $289,000 for his machine, got $345,000. And so the reason we can do that is because, number one, it takes forever to get one, and contractors need them now. And number two, we get a discount. Contractors, close your ears. We get a discount as a governmental body
We do.
that they don't get.
Right.
And for us to keep them past the warranty you've experienced, you're experiencing it now, he's experiencing it, it doesn't make sense.
And the thing about it, if I was to say get it now, it's still looking at a minimum of 90 days.
I can't believe you can get one at 90.
And that
Well,
was-
things have changed at the factory, because it was
He's
up
thinking,
to
that was
Well,
I'm
that's-
just thinking, I'm not telling you I can't.
wow.
Is that, with trade on the,
Yeah, with trade would
on
be
the lease?
385,000.
Right, but on the lease, is that, you see, he said.
The lease, we got the
I
lease
don't know what
numbers.
the lease would be.
But is he
Probably-
including the trade on that also?
It should be a little cheaper than the 40 if he's actually getting the 40,000, but he owes 52
Right.
right now.
Yeah.
So 12,000 is gone.
Right.
So, you got 30 left,
Well,
or 28 left, but,
cause our lease payment, I think, runs 32,690. I believe that. So if it goes to 40, that's $8,000. And we've had them machines, what, 2 years?
oh no, it's happened since 20.
Then we got them in 20. Now you got yours in 19 and we got this one over here in 20.
But it's probably a 2020 machine unless you didn't get it close to the end of the year. I don't know.
When was it?
September.
End of the year.
Yeah, so it's probably a 2020 machine.
So,
So they all come up next year.
uh,
And that's a big, a balloon payment at the end, or
It's a big balloon thing at the end.
so we continue to lease, and that's why we did it, because we didn't have the money in reserves any longer to do it.
Right.
well, that lease deal, if you ever get it started, I don't care what piece of equipment, as long as they'll do a 5-year turn back in, let's start over.
Are you still working with Gordon?
Well, this, I haven't talked to Gordon yet, but I will after we decide what we're gonna do, which they won't take, how Gordon is, they don't take him long.
Yeah.
But the thing, like Sean was saying, if something goes wrong with them now, we pick the phone up, it don't cost us a thing.
Right.
For transportation or nothing.
Nope. And
I've got a tow bill on this, cause they had to come get it and winch it on a truck to get it down there. And I haven't got that bill yet. Cause it's not included in this. This is just repairing what they've got sitting in their yard.
So you're looking at,
Probably 60,000,
yeah, because they're estimates are estimates,
and then get it back, and
and something else can
I have a feeling it's not long before something else, cause I believe this is the one I put injectors in when I first got it.
I would say you ain't got any choice.
I think
We gotta start doing that. Yeah, it's gonna up our budget some, but we can't pay $500,000 for
You're
machines.
gonna have your budget when you're paying 60,000 in maintenance and repairs.
Right,
When you're lease is 40,000 and you're paying 60,000.
Because
My only question is if y'all approve to do the lease, are y'all gonna go ahead and discuss signing the lease papers now or come back to court with the lease agreement? Because the lease has to come through court to get signed by the judge.
well, you need to bring the lease back to court. I would think, because I didn't. It's up to y'all, but I don't think you got a choice here.
I think we are covered with our discussion because it's error replacement, and replacement would be whether purchase or lease. And so I think we've covered it under signing the lease under today. I don't think we would have to bring it back, but
Well, they need the machine yesterday.
Yeah.
It's been in the shop for
I've
how
been
long?
out 2 months now,
2 months.
and they just got it in, because they were a month behind.
you're fine.
Yeah.
If you've done that at this
Well,
long.
originally precinct 4 had 5 blades, but we had somebody decided to trade 2 for 1. And that puts you in a bind when you got 250 miles of road.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
All right.
mainly cleats.
What's your pleasure?
I'd make a motion that we agree to allow Jeff to go ahead and lease a new blade and bring the lease agreement back to you, Judge, to sign, and we'll give you the authority to do so.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, quick, discuss and consider going out for bids on ethanol-free fuel.
Okay, so I spoke with Suncoast. They got national something as well, resources, I don't know. Anyway, these guys that won the unleaded and diesel bid. If you use that product, because I talked to them, they do not have ethanol-free available at the bid that we've already did for unleaded. Good grief, ethanol-free is unleaded, right? But still, they said, oh no, that's a whole different thing. Would have to charge a lot more for freight. And I said, okay, we'll just go out for bids, because if we, the sheriff's office or you guys put ethanol, 10% ethanol in your small machines, your blowers, your weed eaters, your machine, you've got one that's got your hydraulic tail, you're gonna run them. And they go fast. And so we need to go out for bids. So I'll make a motion to go out for bid for ethanol-free fuel. And hopefully we can get it at a good price.
Okay.
When do you want to do this? What date do you want to open?
At the next first meeting in, do you think that's enough time? Let's see, we make her go to this. probably the third
19th,
week.
2nd. The next meeting is April 2nd. That is right at 2 weeks.
Yeah. Would we,
16th.
can we do the paper in time?
Get you in Friday.
We'd have to do that for the next week as well. It's gotta be 2 weeks.
It's gonna be 2 weeks, yeah. If you can get me what you need by tomorrow, for sure, or this afternoon would be better. I can get you taken care of for the next 2 weeks.
It won't be this afternoon.
Well, tomorrow by noon is our cutoff, so.
We also need to change the bid specs for next year
I agree.
for that. Okay, motion and a second, all in favor?
When they can be due by April, you said 2nd?
April 16th.
16th.
That would be
Right.
better. That'd be better for them to be able to,
Yeah.
and if you got small, I mean, we haven't even been approved by Suncoast yet. And so,
I have the account deal, but now they are wanting a very detailed.
surprise, surprise.
So what are we gonna do?
So,
What do we do now when the guys
You call them.
call and say, hey, we're out?
Until they are able to sell us fuel, we are still under the contract with McCarty.
Thank you.
Because I haven't talked, I know, for sure.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I mean, that's all we can do. It's not our fault that they can't provide.
I have
fuel to us.
submitted all of the forms to them. I've just got, this morning, I got the email from them asking for the detailed tax exempt form with it saying fuel and oil. That's all they.
Well, that was my other question. I mean, cause I haven't even found the correct number. Dialed that number that was on that form and went through an automated system and.
I'll
then
forward y'all the email that has the account information with each precinct. sub-account on it.
And you can email or call them, either one.
And I guarantee you they'll answer you. Anytime.
I like businesses there.
You ain't kidding.
All right, court to consider approval of treasurer's monthly report for February 24 and the treasurer's monthly personnel information.
I did not make copies. I have them in my printer right now. I'm so sorry, but there is a copy. I got my days wrong. If you will look, I was planning them for next week, and that is my mistake. But I got copies and I can give them all to you after court or.
You can just
or free.
email me, please.
Okay.
I don't know.
I can do that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't mind if you email it to me here in the
Okay.
future.
Would y'all prefer that?
I want both.
You want both? No, I can
I'm
do
the only- I'm
both.
the only one that needs hard
Oh,
copy.
yes, no,
I'm
yes,
gonna
the original.
Slide away.
Okay.
Something might get thrown. Leg.
I noticed you come to this
No, I
side.
don't have to have it.
He's the one who said it.
Exactly.
I can have a email copy. I prefer it.
Yeah, I was, when I was using you,
You may still get his.
and the treasurer one, yeah. For Melody's here.
I make a motion that we approve the treasurer's monthly, report for February and personnel information report.
All in favor? All right, court to consider approval of county auditor's February 2024 monthly financial report.
I sent the link to all of y'all. It's on our website. It's the monthly financial report that I used to print, or Karen would print and bind and put in all your boxes with all of the financials for the month of, or the March, February.
Make a motion to approve the monthly financial report.
Second.
And you can send that to my email as well.
I did send it to your email.
Can you not, just not print it and send her emails, or is that?
I didn't print it.
Okay, good. Okay.
She does have to print one hard copy because it's putting two different reports together to compile it into
That's what's in our
PDF.
box.
No, y'all aren't getting them anymore in hard copy. We are not printing and binding all that. We
Thank
are
you.
emailing them and posting it on the website. Next month, I will have an annual report that is almost 3,000 pages long. I'm not printing it.
So you're not
Thank
gonna give me more than binders
No.
that Sean like taking apart?
No.
As far as
The
the
ones from
we do already,
Okay.
anyway.
Mhm.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
yes.
Second, and we voted.
You was running, Judge.
I was thinking of something else actually, because I was gonna tell you that the next meeting we'll be discussing agenda software, so. Yeah. All right, court to consider approval of line item transfers, budget amendments. And
There are 3 line item transfers and no budget amendments.
what were you laughing at? Okay. What were you laughing
I was watching your brain cells just melt out of your head. So you're like, we voted on it? And we did, okay,
Okay.
because I've been there. I've been there.
The first one is district court, into other equipment, $199.98, out of equipment, 1,000 to 5,000. The second one is the DA's office, office supplies, 1,000, out of investigative expense. And the last one is EMS, 9,213.84, into equipment, 1,000 to 5,000, out of capital expenditures, and this is to cover the equipment for McGrath Mac video, I don't know how you say that word. Case and Mac blades, it's laryngoscope or something like that.
Well, I didn't write it, so.
No, it's typed, but it's a medical term.
I'll make a motion, we approve the line item transfer and budget amendments.
All in favor? Accounts payable?
Accounts payables, $1,088,769.28.
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we will now convene into executive session pursuant to personnel matters to review county department heads.
You can't.